Have you guys seen this video? I can't tell you how much I was smiling ear to ear when I saw this video. I want to show it to you guys in a second, but I want to tell you guys a little bit about my journey into running track and field. We moved from New Orleans, Louisiana to a small, predominantly white town in California when I was in the 8th grade. Didn't like it here, huge culture shock. Get to high school, didn't like it there, still a huge culture shock. I was struggling to really get along with people in high school, get along with teachers and so forth and so on. There was this one teacher who came to me and even asked me if my brother and I had the same dad. My brother was a year older than me in school, and he was a pretty good athlete and everything at the school. And myself, I wasn't doing anything, but I knew at the time that I was fast, right? And I told the teacher, I'm probably faster than everyone at this school. And he's like, no, you're not. There's no way you are. We got this guy, that guy, or whatever, right? And I said, you line me up against anyone at the school that you think is fast, I'm going to beat them. And he lined me up against this guy that everyone thought was like the stud athlete, right? I raced this guy. I beat him. I think I even turned around and taunted him or whatever. And that was kind of that was kind of a cool thing for me, but it was really just me being like an a-hole and just a bad high school kid, right? Going through some stuff. Well, one day I'm walking on campus and this guy, this coach, teacher that I kind of knew on campus walks up to me and he hands me this card. And it basically says in it, I heard you're fast. You should come out and check out the track team, right? This coach basically went around and he had heard from teachers like I was fast, another guy was fast. And basically the way I remember it is every black kid who was at the school got that card. And there were probably 5 or 6 of us or something, right? And honestly, he probably gave it out to everyone who was fast. But I just remember when I showed up to track practice that day, there were like every black kid in town was basically at practice. Not everyone, but a lot of them were. And but the cool thing about this coach was that he always had our back. He went to the principal when I got into a fight one time and he said, hey, if you allow me to just take him and talk to him and handle this myself, I will try to make sure he's never in your office again. And the principal said, okay. And he took me and he handled it. He gave me some words and everything, but he always had my back, always. And the guy is the reason why I went to college. And I remember when I would call him and tell him how I was doing in college and track and field, he would say, are you getting your degree and everything, and that kind of started my journey into track. And that's where I became, I went to college for track and now my daughters run track and so forth. Right. So I always try to pay that forward. That is, I have dedicated my life to my student athletes and I will do anything. I will always have their back because I want to make more people like me, right? That will come back and be productive members of society and so forth and so on. But this guy was a white guy my high school coach was a white guy who understood the black people on campus because he went to college and ran track and became friends with a lot of black people when he was in college running track. And this was in the 70s and 80s for him, if I'm getting that right. And so he understood us and he always had our back. Fast forward to not long ago. I'm talking to a person I know who is a principal at a school and he's a white guy. And he's telling me about how, man, I should have you come and talk to some of these kids. And, because sometimes I just feel like they need a positive role model like you, and he tells me this story about a kid dancing. And he says, I just thought it was inappropriate that he was dancing at this time and blah, blah, blah. And I go, he was on the sideline of a football game or something. I said, why was that inappropriate? And he's like, I just think, young men need to carry themselves better. And I just think he wasn't carrying himself well. And I said, I'm going to give you some advice, man, that I think if you use this, you're going to do better with all of your students. And mind you, I've always thought of this guy to not be a very cultured person, I told him, I said, if you come across a group of black kids at your school and they're dancing, dance with them. Dance with them. Jump in the circle, do something stupid, make a fool of yourself because they're going to be like, dang, Mr. Blah, just jumped in there and did some dumb stuff. Like, that guy is cool. And they will always think of you as someone who had their back and as someone who tried to understand the culture, because black kids dancing is not a bad thing. It's not anything that anyone should be threatened by or feel like they're acting out or anything. That's just them being them. Allow them to be them. So when I saw this video, it made me think about like my coach in high school and that conversation I had with that guy that I hope is taking that advice that I gave him, because this guy doing this will forever like make this girl remember that guy like was down for her. And let's watch the video for a second, because there's a couple more things I want to say about this. And here's the thing. I've seen multiple videos of black people dancing at their graduation or whatever, right? And the comments, I go to them and I see the most harmful, racist things being said. And even by some black people who are like, they want to be the good black person. Like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. And I remember being a kid and we had like a saying like, there's white folks around, so make sure you guys behave and stuff, and it was like, whenever, if you're a black person, you've been around like cool white people that are like, they'll jump in and they kind of get in there and they hang out and they do their thing. You realize that like most of us are all alike in a lot of ways. Black people having fun is not a bad thing though. Like, it's not a bad thing. And so when people are like, be good or that's just so dumb. And like the fact that this guy did that dance with her, wasn't like, oh, don't do that, or we won't give you your diploma if you do that. No, he got in there and he did that with her. And then I was showing this video of one of my athletes the other day. And he's like, oh, that's a TikTok trend. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that. That's cool. But it was cool that guy, and I don't know the history. I don't know who the guy is, if he was the principal or whatever he is. I just saw the video and I thought, this is beautiful. This is great. This is what I love. And the fact that guy didn't judge her. And then you see the other people, the lady behind him enjoying herself, laughing. Like, you see, they showed so many different people who were like in suits and in robes, and like, you're talking administrators and teachers and all that. And they all enjoyed that moment. And I thought, this is what it's supposed to be about. And I wasn't going to say this part. And I kind of get a little bit embarrassed by this because, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have, whatever. But this is a picture of me at my high school graduation doing a dance. And my mom didn't really want me to. Like, I in hindsight, she, she saw it and was like, you shouldn't have done it. Because she just wanted me to just go across the stage. And it was nothing to do with like being good for white people or anything like that. But it was just more like my mom was just that way, But I did that because someone dared me to. I did this dance, and that was like in 1993. So, I don't know. I don't remember catching flack for it. The newspaper took a picture of it and it said, that I was like enjoying myself or whatever. So it was cool. But, I just think like this video was just great. It made me feel good, and I hope it made you guys feel good. And I think it's really what, this country should be about. It should be about like everybody enjoying themselves and actually loving each other and all that. And, it was cool. And I wanted to talk about that. So hope you guys enjoyed that and enjoyed my story about how I got into running track and how I dedicate my life to my student athletes now as well. Period. Don't want no enemies or ops. Envy in they heart, I tell them stop. Vacation on the yacht.